Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Ani Sofia binti Adnan and today my group and I will be presenting on how do we survive in a workplace. So the first presenter will be Syed, second presenter will be Rizwana, third presenter will be me, fourth presenter will be Fahmi, fifth presenter will be Shazwan, sixth presenter will be Atika, and the last presenter will be Alia.
How do we survive in a workplace? How do we survive in a workplace?
Holistic development approach in workplace. According to American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, the human lifespan or the maximum length of time possible for a human life is 130 years. So the cycle of human life, point A being to be born and point Z being to die. After you complete the cycle of starting school, make friends, graduate, get a job, fall in love, get married, retire, make a will, and then die, you will complete the cycle of human life. But what if I told you that it is not enough? What if I told you simply completing the cycle alone does not mean that you have fulfilled your purpose living? What you have to do is you have to develop yourself holistically, and only then you will achieve your full purpose in living. So, what is holistic development? You need to understand what is holistic development. Holistic development essentially means the development of intellectual, mental, physical, emotional, and social abilities in a person so that he or she is capable of facing the demands and challenges of everyday life. If you take a look at this picture here, these 6 elements here make up the whole individual development. So the first branch is social development, and then intellectual development, spiritual development, moral development, physical development, and emotional development.
My grandmother used to tell me stories about the old days.
Once you have taken care of all these 6 elements, only then you can develop yourself holistically. Moving on, self-development skills. So what is self or personal development skills? Self or personal development is a lifelong process. It is a way for people to assess their skills and qualities, consider their aims in life, and also set goals in order to realize and maximize their potential. If you take a look at this picture, as I said, self-development, personal development is a lifelong process. So when you were just born, your personal development might be to be able to walk, and then you graduate, and then your personal development is to land a good job with good salary, and then live a wholesome life. So all this changes from time to time, and it will become your lifelong process. So we need to know why self or personal development is so important. The answer to that is self-actualization. There are many ideas surrounding personal development or self-development, and one of it is Abraham Maslow's process of self-actualization. Maslow suggests that all individuals have an inbuilt need for personal development, which occurs through a process called self-actualization. The extent of which people are able to develop usually depends on certain needs being met, and these needs will form a hierarchy. Only when one level of need is satisfied, a higher one can be achieved. So, as change occurs throughout your life, the level of need motivating someone's behavior at any one time will also change. So, take a look at this hierarchy here. How do you relate this? How do you relate this hierarchy of needs in your workplace? The physiological need. So first, in order for you to fulfill your physiological need, you need to have a job. After you have a job, safety needs. You need to make sure that the job pays you well. You need to make sure that the job can make you sustain your daily life. And then the third need is love and belongingness. In love and belongingness, you need to feel like you are part of the family in your workplace. You need to work well together with your co-workers, with your colleagues. And then esteem needs, you need to feel in charge. This is usually closely related to the idea of self-empowerment. You need to feel in control. And then cognitive needs, you need to understand the reason, the deeper understanding on why you are working in the company. And then aesthetic needs, the aesthetic needs is when you are giving your very best to the company, you have performed your very best to your company, and only when you have fulfilled all these hierarchies, you will achieve the state of self-actualization, your full potential in the company. So now that you know why it is important, you need to know how to manage your personal development. There are 5 steps to manage your personal development. The first one is to develop a personal vision. So why it is important to develop a personal vision is for you to have a clear idea on where do you want to be in 20 years time. Do you still want to work in the company, or do you want to go for something bigger, something that is more challenging for your career? Next, you need to plan your personal development. You can either plan your personal development mentally, or you can jot it down in your notebook or diary or journal. It's not essential for you to jot it down, but it does help to make the planning process to become more realistic. And after you have planned your personal development, you need to start the improvement process, because it is a lifelong process. There are many factors that will influence your daily experience, even in your workplace. So you need to improve and fine tune according to the needs. So after you have started the improvement process, make sure you stick to your regimen, follow your planning. And after you have achieved something, if let's say you have become the best employee of the month, you record your personal development, because this will help to motivate you even further. This will help you to motivate you even further to become better and perform better for your company. And last but not least, again, because it is an ever-changing process, don't forget to review and revise your personal development plans according to the times and also to the needs. And with that, thank you so much.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Rizwana Ruzmi, and I will be talking about self-development strategies. Morihei Ueshiba said, "Life is growth. If we stop growing technically and spiritually, we are as good as dead." So, what does that mean to you? As we all know now, self-development is very important, and it's not just in our career. It can be in our personal life and even in our study. Self-development is very important so that we can adapt to changes and deal with it. So how do we develop ourselves? How do we upgrade ourselves? Or how do we do self-betterment in our career, our study, or our personal life? So here I'm going to show you 5 ways of self-development strategy. First one is step up of your comfort zone. Move out of your comfort zone. You can only grow if you are willing to feel awkward and uncomfortable when you try something new, by Brian Tracy. So, can you actually count how many times in your life that you have actually encountered very awkward situation while doing your task? Throughout our life or our networking and working journey, we will always gonna face unexpected changes, unexpected situations, which gonna lead us to an opportunity or a chance to expand our wisdom or our knowledge. For example, like if you are required to do a new task, a series of work that you are not familiar with, it can be as simply as presenting in front of the camera like I'm doing right now, which I never familiar with before, but I'm doing it because I'm getting out of my comfort zone, my bubble. So this is new to me. It is true that sometimes we feel so demotivated or too comfortable with something that we are used to. But in career, for your career growth, you have to step out and constantly challenge yourself. Like if you find something that needed to be fixed in your job, then try to confront the problem and fix it. The second point is set some goals, and I know some of us might have heard this a lot. There are like tons of quotes on Pinterest about setting goals and having clear objectives, but how much do you actually know the importance of setting the goal? Goals are important. Having some goals means that you know your stuff, you know what you're doing, you know what you want in your career, and you know how far and how high you can set the bar. So use that bar, use that goal as a benchmark to success, to your definition of success. Do you know the goal-setting theory of motivation by Edwin Locke in 1960s? Theory states that goal setting is linked to task performance. It also states that specific and challenging goals along with appropriate feedback contribute to higher and better task performance. Do you agree? In simpler words, goals indicate and give direction to the employee about what needs to be done and how much effort they are required to be put in. The third point is focus on your strength. So it's very true that each one of us, different human being, possesses different strengths, different unique abilities, and sometimes the abilities need nurturing. For example, like you are good at speaking in public. You have no problem doing impromptu speech in front of everyone. How can you focus on your strength in your career? How can you focus? How can you nurture that strength? How can you identify your strength? How do you know what your strengths are? So think of these as ways of how you can identify them. Okay, the first thing is try to think of a moment or an event when you achieved a success, something that you feel most engaged and fulfilled with. Then, while reflecting on that moment, the second step is to list out specific objectives to describe your traits, your characters, or your talents that you have applied in that moment. When you are done, the third step is to review the list and choose your top 5 strengths. So that's all, how to identify your strengths. So point number 4 is develop weaknesses. So as same as strengths, everyone have their own weaknesses. For example, like me, I have my own weaknesses. I have a huge weakness for my bed. I can never look at my bed and not lie down and take a nap. So I can never do my work on bed because it's not gonna happen. So can you list yours? Can you list your weaknesses as well? And as same as strengths, before this, I'm also going to show you how to identify your weaknesses. There are 3 steps. Okay, the first one is to think about your career goal. For example, like let's say your goal is you want to be a candidate for Guru Cemerlang. So think of traits or characters or talent that can help you, that you have to acquire to help you to achieve that. So once you know your career path and what skills you have to acquire to help you to achieve the goals, try to take a good look on yourself. Try to think, what are you lacking of? The skills, what you don't acquire yet. Think of that. Confront yourself, confront your weaknesses, and sometimes it is hard. It's like swallowing a bitter pill, but you have to swallow it because that's the only way you get to improve yourself. And once you have achieved that kind of self-realization, number 3 is to get guidance from someone you trust. In my honest opinion, it's quite impossible to go far alone by yourself because at some point in your career, you're gonna need someone's help. So try to find someone who can give you an honest feedback on your work, who can criticize your work, and not just someone who can just false praise you all the time. Last but not least, evaluate your outcomes. Once you have achieved your goals, once you have unlocked new skills, or if you have developed certain areas of knowledge, evaluate this evaluate the outcomes of this because it will give you a sense of fulfillment and self-awareness. Okay, these are 5 strategies of self-development, especially in workplace. So that's all from me, and let's proceed to the next presentation.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is Ani Sofia binti Adnan, and today I'll be talking to you about emotional intelligence. But before we get started, let me quote from David Goleman, an internationally known as psychologist, an author, also science journalist. Goleman stated that if your emotional abilities aren't in hand, if you don't have self-awareness, if you're not able to manage your distressing emotions, if you can't have empathy and have effective relationships, then no matter how smart you are, you're not going to get very far. Emotional intelligence describes the ability, capacity, skill, or self-perceived ability to identify, assess, and manage the emotions of oneself, of others, and of groups. In another word, people who possess a high degree of emotional intelligence can recognize their own emotions and are also able to sense the emotions of others. Individuals have different personalities, space, needs, and ways of showing their emotions. This is where emotional intelligence theory helps, especially if one hopes to succeed in life. So there are 5 domains of emotional intelligence that is divided into personal and social. Okay, for personal, we have self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-motivation. For social, we have social awareness and social skills. Okay, when we talk about self-awareness, right, it comes within us. Like we recognize our own feelings, our own thoughts, and our character. So basically, it is something that we are aware of who we are. Alright, for self-regulation, it is an ability for us to control our behaviors, to control our emotions and impulses. Like for example, something bad and terrible happened, right? But instead of being paranoid and nervous for no reason, we choose to keep calm and be rational about it. Okay, for self-motivation, it is like our internal drive, the force that keeps pushing us to go on. Like for example, I didn't score an A for my English test. Perhaps if I try harder, I could score one and I can make my parents proud. Something like that. Okay, for social awareness, for me, it is like we position ourselves into someone else's shoes. It is an ability to take the perspective of or empathize others even though they came from diverse background and cultures. Next will be social skills. Okay, social skills is very important skill for us in our daily life. Like disagreement can arise in any time, right? So it is up to us to communicate effectively to other people so that it can avoid misunderstanding. Okay, next. Okay, can emotional intelligence be developed and can it be learned? So the answer is yes, it can be learned and it also can be evolved along with a series of life situations. Okay, the first thing you need to do is distinguish between thought and feelings. Okay, thoughts and emotions are profound effect on one another. You might feel like you're disagreeing with others, but do you think it's a need for you to burst out your emotion in rage? In my personal opinion, don't let emotions cloud your judgment and your mind. Learn to be calm, learn to be rational. Alright, next will be do a self-evaluation. Evaluate yourself, like should have done this better, and identify what is good and what is bad in your personality. Work on that negative, work on that weaknesses, so that you can improve to be better day by day. Next will be take responsibility for your actions. Alright, be mindful of your vocabulary, be mindful of your responses. Practice empathy. Apologize if you're doing wrong. In my personal opinion, it's okay for you to put your ego down a bit, and it's okay for you to apologize first because they say Those who apologize first is the bravest person, right? All right, next, emotional validation. Validate other people's feelings and avoid people who invalidate you. We need to be the bigger person, right? We need to position ourselves in someone else's shoes. Don't judge, don't mock, don't criticize, because we never know. All right, so what are the advantages or the importance of emotional intelligence? So the first one will be it improves relationship with our boss and colleagues. So it is something in our society, right? When we possess a higher level of EQ, somehow we are quick to build a rapport and a trust. Next, it improves social skills and makes better empathy skills. So somehow you will be able to understand your colleagues' need or the requirements that are needed in your organization. Next, reduce stress level. Okay, when there is a mutual understanding between us, between our boss and family or friends, somehow it can reduce our stress level because the consensus is achieved. Next, we can read and navigate a plethora of social situations and conflicts easily. With that, you will have a better decision-making skills, right? Next, last but not least, we can have better workplace environment. Okay, when we have an understanding boss, we have a supportive friends or colleagues, somehow it can make our environment better, right? Somehow it's stress-free. So there are 4 phases to apply and to enhance your emotional intelligence in your workplace. So the first one will be preparation. So in this phase, you should be prepared in assessing the organization's needs. You need to assess personal strengths and limitations, and you should also adjust expectations from your boss, from your teammates. Once you have your plans in place, phase 2 is where you start training. Okay, you should train yourself to adapt with the environment by fostering the positive relationship with your boss, with your supervisor, with your colleagues. Okay, you should also be maximizing opportunities to practice emotional intelligence, and you should also build in support for your staff as well and your client. Okay, phase 3 is all about transferring and maintaining the skills learned. Okay, once you have done observe your boss, your colleagues, you have done trial and error, you should maintain the good one and you should improve the bad one. Okay, finally, the phase 4. The phase 4 is focused on evaluating the change that has come about from training from phase 2. So in this phase, you should have well known the do's and the don'ts in your office, in your workplace, and you should be able to understand the environment, the people in your workplace. So the bottom line is that emotional intelligence is an ability for us to understand our own needs, our own feelings, and to other people as well. It taught us to respond in appropriate way. With that being said, it doesn't mean you have to suppress your emotions, because sometimes there are time to be together and a time to be alone, a time to fight and a time to love, a time to work and a time to play, a time to cry and a time to laugh, a time to confront and a time to withdraw. Live a life that is well balanced. Relax, breathe, and take it easy. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and peace be upon to you all, my dear viewers, and especially to our beloved lecturer, Dr. Fatin Aliana. First of all, I would like to express our gratitude to our Dr. Fatin Aliana, our lecturer, for granting us this opportunity to present our work among ourselves and our peers. So basically, my topic is about social intelligence. I have conducted several research and found out something interesting about social intelligence. Let us proceed, and shall we? What comes through your mind when I say the word social intelligence? Shall we find out? let's proceed. Look at the far right there. You'll see the general definition for social intelligence is the ability to get along well with others and or to make them cooperate with you. In other words, common sense. According to Carl Albrecht, he stated that this social intelligence is falling somewhere on the spectrum between nourishing or toxic effect. Now the two main points here is nourishing and toxic effect. So what is nourishing effect and toxic effect? Shall we proceed then? So according to Carl Albrecht, nourishing effects can also be known as moral or good behavior. It will make others feel somehow appreciated, feeling good, feeling thankful, affirmed, and many other good things. While the toxic effect can be known as toxic or immoral behavior and can definitely hurt others, can make them feel insecure and etc. In other words, good versus evil, like these two, a demon fighting an angel. See? How can we develop our social intelligence? Is there any ways? Of course, I can tell you how to develop your social skills, but it is not going to be easy. First step is it requires hard work and you need adequate knowledge. You need at least a basic knowledge for speaking or communication, such as common sense, social skills. And also you need to have self-confidence, all right? Self-confidence is important. And you also need to know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, you might as well quit. So let us begin on the steps of improving our social intelligence, shall we? Now, first thing is to always pay attention around your social or societies, or known as environmental societies. You need to see and you need to think what they are doing. Are they expecting someone to talk to them, or are they simply just waiting quietly? Because some people doesn't want to be bothered. You need to know that. Second, try to practice yourself. Practice makes things better. Trust me, it works. You can start by talking yourself into a mirror or record yourself. You can use any phone or any camera, and you just simply review your tape or your recording and take notes. Find which weakness that you need to enhance. Also, there's an alternative of which you speak in speaking groups. It means that you find someone in your local area or someone that you know that are very close to you. Ask them if they want to join your speaking group just to enhance your social skill. The more the merrier. If all of them willing to participate in your enhancing skill activities, trust me, it'll work. And finally, this is just an opinion. You can share your knowledge and your experience through talking. It really helps a lot when you're trying to convey some message, okay? Trust me.
Ha! I bet you thought that was all of it, didn't you? No, there's more.
Alright, there is actually more steps than meets the eye. Now the next step is, come on, be honest. You like people to hear what you're talking about, hear your plead, hear your nagging or anything like that, but you don't like to hear what other people said, do you? Trust me. Just be honest. Personally, I dislike it, but I don't hate it. I need to hear it, even though I dislike it, so I can improve my social intelligence. Now that is one of the steps of improving your social intelligence. You need to be a good and active listener. If you wish to be heard, then you must hear other people. Now this, always don't want to hear other people, is a very bad behavior. How can you reply them back if you don't want to hear? Now this is the next step. You need to try and reflect on what you believe from the speaker or what you have heard from the speaker. Try to give feedback if possible. And if you found any misunderstanding, try to get clarification from them. Now, this is one of the most important steps, is to study your surrounding and your own behavior. You need to study your surroundings, your situation, the time and the places. If your particular time is not good timing, then don't talk about anything that is irrelevant to the speaker, even though it's relevant to you. It's a bad idea, trust me. And the second thing is that you know your speaker. You need to know your speaker, because if you don't know your speaker, what topic do you want to bring about it? Finally, small talk if possible. I learned it the hard way. Remember, we can fail and again, but that doesn't make us a failure. We became a true failure if we stop trying. So if you fall, rise back up and again, even if it's take 1,000 times. You must learn from your mistake. We learn from our mistake. In time, your skill will develop into high standards. Does social intelligence affected our self-confidence and self-esteem? The answer is, according to Chang Hong Cheong, Kobe et al., John and Day, it does affect our social intelligence through enhanced social problem-solving abilities, experienced leadership, and interpersonal experience. Social intelligence plays a very important role in our social life. We need it in order for us to have a better or higher standards of social skills. You know, I'm not talking about being comparing yourself to others. No, I'm talking about improving ourselves. If one can have that type of intelligence, we also must have that type of intelligence by, and I said by, increasing our skills through a legitimized way, not through envious way. No, that is completely bad.
Hello everyone, and good day to you. We'll begin with my topic, and it is practical intelligence. Before we continue, let me just introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Shazwan bin Ahmad Sofyan, and without further ado, let's continue. So today I'll be talking about, that dude. So that person's name is Robert J. Sternberg, and his theory, of which I will explain and will use to explain practical intelligence. So his theory is that, and I quote, "My triarchic theory of intelligence basically states that there are three aspects to intelligence, and they are analytical, creative, and practical." So for this particular presentation, I'll be only focusing on practical aspect of it. So as you can see, the three aspects of his intelligence. So the question, so what is it? What is it? What is practical intelligence? So practical intelligence is basically street smarts, common sense, know-how, and a way of reading people. It is how you apply your knowledge to the real world. Just simply having knowledge doesn't mean that you can effectively use it in your day-to-day activities. It's how you apply those knowledge is what practical intelligence means. So I've given you the broad and general definition for practical intelligence. Now, given the rather wide and situation-specific definition of practical intelligence, it's important for us to look at it in terms of the different approaches for it. So I'll mention and I'll explain three different approach for practical intelligence, just for you to understand it easier. So the first is the practical know-how. Now, practical know-how refers to solving tasks, such as, for example, you repair a machine or navigating the ocean without appropriate information from formal education or technical manuals or specialized tools. So you use whatever that is available for you at the moment to fix your problem. So the next is the practical mathematics or street mathematics. Now, street mathematics is mathematical calculations undertaken in everyday life that differs from the abstract mathematics formerly taught in school, and they are oftentimes conducted in forms of mental shortcuts. I'll give an example. If you were to go to a supermarket and then you would need to decide whether or not the best buy or the discount is worth it for you to buy it in the grand scheme based on your budget and stuff. So is it really a discount, or are they just trying to sell you something and you don't actually need the item? So that is also an application of practical intelligence. Third, but not the last, because there's more, but I'll just focus on these three, is practical planning. Now, practical planning refers to how people organize their everyday activities and how they reorganize them when they do go wrong. I'll give you an example. So, although everyone have a routine of getting up in the mornings and getting ready to work, the effectiveness of different strategies used to react to problems such as a failed alarm clock may differ. So if you don't have a good practical planning, you might not be able to adapt to problems such as, well, a failed alarm clock. So you ended up your whole plan for the day is ruined simply because it didn't go to plan. So being able to adapt and being able to solve a problem is part of practical intelligence. So the question now here lies, is it fixed? Is it something that you're born with? So unlike IQ, you can learn it. So you are not born with practical intelligence, you acquire it. So remember the person from before? Yeah, Sternberg explained that practical intelligence is based on tacit knowledge, or what you need to succeed that you're not explicitly taught, and that is often not even verbalized. It is something that you have experienced, you see people do, and then you learn from them. Next, so question now is that did you know that it's not fixed? You know that you can learn it. So how do you build it? How do you gain, say, intelligence? So you acquire practical intelligence by learning from your experiences, and especially your mistakes and from those of others. So if you saw someone making a mistake, and then you were able to experience seeing someone making the mistake, you need to learn from that mistake so that you won't repeat it. Next, you need to explore your own strengths and weaknesses. So you should not just stick to what you know, and you should learn to do other things that is outside of your specialty, of your knowledge, so that you know about yourself. And that is it. That is practical. Right, and that is it for my part. And we'll continue with the next presenter. Alright, bye bye. I gotta go feed him.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Alia Akilah binti Saleh, and I am going to present on the topic spiritual intelligence. So let's get started. So, what is spiritual intelligence? Spiritual intelligence is a higher dimension of intelligence that activates the qualities and capabilities of the authentic self in the form of wisdom, compassion, integrity, joy, love, creativity, and peace. So, to put it simply, spiritual intelligence is about knowing who you are and what you value. How about spiritual intelligence at the workplace? So, when spiritual intelligence is brought to the workplace, you will start seeing your job as a creative process of service and also a form of contribution, instead of something that you do it daily to earn money and something that is considered as a daily chore. When you have achieved spiritual intelligence, you will also be able to see your friends or coworkers as individuals who have lots of potential and inner power instead of objects or resources to get the job done. Overall, the idea of spiritual intelligence at the workplace is that you are able to build trust, you are able to act with integrity, you will be able to empathize at the level beyond emotion, and you will start having positive vision about your work. So now let's take a look at 12 Principles of Spiritual Intelligence by Dana Zohar. Spiritual self-awareness means we recognize ourselves. It's about living true to ourselves while respecting others. By being authentic this way, we are communicating with our deeper self. We bring out that self and put it into our actions. For example, a positive, deeper self will bring out a positive action. Spontaneity here does not mean we act without thinking. Here it means responding to the moments while being prepared to do experiment and take risk. We leave our judgments, assumptions, and emotional baggage behind to be responsive to the moment. When we have a vision and driven by value, we will be able to be inspired and widen our perspective on matters, not just taking the matter as what it is. For example, we are studying in the university. We are not here just to graduate, but we learn and unlearn things about life as well throughout the process. Holism means each part of the system is integrated to and defined by each other. It will encourage us cooperation as it makes us realize that we are all part of the same system. We need each other and we are responsible for our part. When we have compassion, we are not just recognizing how other people feel, but we also understand the feelings too. We also recognize the impacts of our decisions and actions on others. When celebrating the diversity, we encourage people to express their individuality. And when planning or making decisions, we seek input from a wide range of people instead of being biased. Okay, let's move on to the next point. In psychology, feel independence means to stand against the crowd. We are ready to listen to the views of others, but at the same time, we can make decisions on our own and be responsible for it. Next, humility is so much related to feel independence as it makes us realize that we can make mistakes as well. We are ready to learn from others or our own personal mistakes, and we are also able to acknowledge or give credit on other people's achievement. Okay, so why is it important to ask why questions? Why questions enable us to understand the causes of the problem before initiating corrective action. For example, we give others to explain their action first before we give negative feedback to them. So, how about the ability to reframe? Reframing means the ability to stand back from a situation and look for the bigger picture. It allows us to bring variety of approaches when it comes to the problem solving, not just in one way. It also helps us to widen our perspective and be out of our comfort zone. The positive use of adversity is the ability to recognize that suffering is inevitable in life. We are human beings, we make mistakes, and that's okay. We can learn from it. In fact, mistakes and failures makes us stronger and wiser as a person. Last but not least, when we have a strong sense of vocation, we are willing to go extra mile to achieve an excellent result, and we view our career as an important part of our life, not just a medium to earn money. And that's the end for my part. Thank you for listening, and Siti Noratika will continue the presentation.
Hey there! You thought you're done? Nah, we still have one last presenter to go, and that's me, Atika. So, let's get to it. But first, let me tell you, we're still not done on the spiritual intelligence part. Just want to let you guys know. So, let's go! Oh, it's you guys. I'm sorry. I just got a little bit thirsty there. So, oh yeah, I was about to do the presentation. Totally forgot. The thirst really got to me. So. We've learned about the 12 principles of make someone spiritually intelligent from Alia. So, what else could we talk about on spiritual intelligence, you might ask? Well, on my part, I'll be talking about traits of people with high spiritual intelligence and how do these people with these traits act in the workplace. So, let's get to that finally, okay? Oh, but let me finish my tea first. Hey, let's move on to the actual presentation. As you can see, I'm recording at my kitchen shamelessly because I thought, well, just in the room might seems a bit too redundant, so here I am. So let's move on to the first trait. That is, someone with high spiritual intelligence, they will usually be wise. Wise here means that someone who do not do things that makes them viewed negatively upon, or someone who is usually very much collected most of the time. The reason that these people are wise is because with high spiritual intelligence, they are the types that think beyond what you can see in front of you, because they do not think like very small picture, but they think in big pictures. They think about what could happen if you do this in the future, what will people view on you, what will happen. They would think about all the different perspective of one issue or one thing that they do, and this what makes these people's trait to be wise. So in the workplace, you might see these people as the bunch that really considers what they're doing and really know what they're doing, because that's the first trait, wise. So, moving on to the second trait. The second trait of someone with high spiritual intelligence is that they are usually very strong-willed. Strong. Okay, these people are strong-willed in the sense that it's very hard to influence them, because people with high spiritual intelligence has a firm grip and firm belief in what they believe in, and also what their principles are. It's hard to convince them otherwise. And this translates you in the workplace as someone who is very confident, who's very much driven towards a goal, and are not very much affected by people's bad judgment of them or all the negativity thrown at them. They are strong-willed and willing to do so for what they believe in. So moving on to the next one. Okay, moving on to the next one. And yes, I changed my positions a lot because why not? Okay, the next trait I'm going to talk about is someone with this high spiritual intelligence. They will also be very much forgiving. They will forgive you for the wrongs that you've done because they would be much more compassionate about individuals. They would understand that if someone did them wrong, it's not because they wanted to and they have all this problems that makes them who they are. So they are very much forgiving because they are also people who understand a lot and try to understand everyone around them. So in the workplace, it will benefit you to have such a trait that is forgiving, is that you will be more composed and wise, and also you will not have much problem in the workplace because you're usually very much forgiving of all the wrong things that you've done, and people would love to work with you, because who wouldn't love someone who's truly forgiving and care about you, right? So that's it for the forgiving part. Moving on to the next one.
Moving on to the next point. And I actually got sick of being in the kitchen, and now I'm in my room. So let's move on to the actual point, shall we? So the next trait of someone with high spiritual intelligence is that they are very sincere. And sincere here is in the context is that they would give and give and give things without expecting anything in return. They are very much sincere. So in the workplace, these people are the type that work for what they believe in and would not expect, for example, an overtime pay or a raise. Even if they are sincere in what they do and they are happy in doing so, because they are very much interested, motivated. They do because they wanted to. So moving on to the next point.
And the last trait we're going to talk about is someone with this type of high spiritual intelligence is that they are the type to be very much calm. As you might expect, they are wise, they are forgiving, they are sincere, strong-willed. So these people trait would be that they are much calm. They're very calm. So these people would benefit in the workplace in terms that they are not influenced by bad negativity that's going around them. They are usually very composed and very well collected in their decision making and also their social life. So people with this type of trait is usually
very much preferred in the workplace. So it really benefits you to be someone who is calm in the workplace, isn't it?
Oh, you guys are back in the kitchen? Oh, I must be done with presentation then. Well, the presentation is coming to an end. And so is my tea, sadly. Let's wrap it up. So today we have learned about 3 types of intelligence: IQ, EQ, and also SQ. So, which one of these intelligence do you guys think you have most prominent? And also, that's it from us. Thanks for watching. Bye!